This episode is sponsored by Jordyn Jars, Chicago's favorite cake in a jar. Jordyn Jars ship nationwide from jordyjars.com, and we are the home of the first cake in a jar vending machine, which is located inside of Lacuna Lofts at 2150 South Canalport. Follow me on Instagram at Jordyn Jars and my personal Instagram at xjordinary. Welcome to episode 2 of the Mommy's Anonymous podcast. So I wanted to let you guys get to know me a little bit better. I have 3 kids, 3 boys, Dallas, Denham, and Dash. And Dallas is 7 years old as of 2 days ago, and Denham is 2, and Dash is 1. Going from 1 kid to 3 was like a really dramatic change in our lives. The Irish twins, as they call them, that 13 months apart, is probably... It's like a punishment. It feels like an actual nightmare, having one baby sleeping and the other one trying to climb up. You know, it's just the ages are too close, in my opinion. So I would not recommend the Irish twins, but it's great having them now. We're raising them like twins. They're the exact same size and everything. But I feel like, you know how they tell you in high school, nobody teaches you about taxes? Nobody else teaches you about how much it costs to have a baby either, because I think it's ridiculous. Who knew that it costs $10,000 to give birth? Like, why would anybody choose to do this so frivolously? Like, we just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a baby. Like, that is a bill. That's insane. And let you have a boy and you have to get them circumcised. And then that's another amount of money that you have to, pay. You have to pay for room and board for your baby, even though they're in the same room as you. If you really look at that bill, it's quite ridiculous. And the costs that start adding up with children that are hidden costs, hidden fees, if you will. This was not in the original contract of motherhood or parenthood. Like, each kid, daycare is $1,000 each per a month. So us having 2 little ones, it's $2,000 a month just so we can go to work. Denham was daycare age longer than Dash, so we kept him home till he was 10 months, Dash. And the daycares were overcrowded because of COVID, so we had a really hard time getting him placed somewhere. We couldn't get them placed in the same daycare for a while. We were driving them all these different places, so the adjustment wasn't having 3 humans in our house. It wasn't just that. It's now figuring out where they're going to go when we need to go do anything. So every adjustment, we have another mouth to feed. We have another person to care about. We have another schedule to learn and another human to learn. All these kids are so different, and I don't really think I realized, nature versus nurture is a real thing. Like, what my kids have completely different temperaments. They act totally different. Their talents, their skills that I'm picking up on right now, the things that they like, they're completely different. So I feel like we're trying to learn how to love each of our children intentionally, but that's a really big task, going from 1 child to now having 3 people to care that much about. I couldn't imagine having twins, like having 2 live children out of my vagina, though, that's for sure. So shout out to you guys who had birthed live twins, because I just had these Irish twins, but it feels crazy. I feel like we're in the same boat now, but I couldn't imagine having 2 babies nursing at the same exact time. That sounds like madness. When you think about how you were raised with your siblings, I have 2 brothers, so my mom also had 3 kids, and she strongly recommended that I did not have 3 kids. I always thought that she was challenging me. I thought that she thought that I was soft or something, like, oh, you don't think I can handle it. My grandma has 3 kids, you have 3 kids, my great-grandma had 8 kids, so now you think I'm a little bitch. No offense, sorry, Mom, but that's how I felt. I took it as a challenge instead of a warning, and I feel her now. I feel her completely, wholeheartedly. 3 kids was a lot, but everybody says it's going to get easier. And when they say that, they're talking about like 8 years old. This is a long time to wait. What about right now? What about, like, in this moment, what are we supposed to do? But I definitely feel like I misinterpreted my mom's warnings and took them quite literally. It took them to heart. And it's taxing But knowing that I have people around that have experienced the same thing as me, who have 3 kids, who have more kids than me, who have had twins. I have friends that have twins, so when I'm feeling overwhelmed with my little ones, they're like, yeah, girl, I already know. And that makes me feel better. It makes me feel like, okay, you know, we're in this together. But my mom made it seem like it was just completely unmanageable, but she didn't explain why. I needed to know about the costs. I needed to know about you can't find anybody to watch your kids. I need to know that you're not going to be able to go to work as easily. I understand better why my mom was a stay-at-home mom, because she didn't want to then pay for daycare every day. And then it feels like you're only going to work so that you can pay for daycare. It's so expensive that, you know, you have to be bringing in that much and then some in order for it to make a difference in your life. In order for it to pay, you know, for a vacation, you have to be working double time, but now you have to pay for aftercare. We have to pay like $350 for aftercare for Dallas so we can make sure, you know, we have extra time to leave work. We're running a bakery. We are entrepreneurs, Des and I, and have the coffee shop and the bakery. So we need to be here essentially from 9 to 5 like every other working person. But daycare's closing and school's closing at, you know, 3:30. How would we as 9 to 5ers that own the business be able to adjust to picking up kids? Fridays at daycare, we have to pick them up at 3 p.m. Those are the rules. We love our daycare lady. They're great, but that is something that we have to adjust to because we have to pick them up early. And our job doesn't end early. Friday is a really busy day for us. We have a routine. It's so many of them, like getting them in and out the car is a lot, even though I make Des do it on his own. I am there for support, you know, while he's doing that in the snow. But, you know, what if I'm not there? What if he needed me? I mean, I'll try to help more now that I'm saying this out loud. But it just definitely is hard to have to continuously change our schedule all the time. Having 3 kids also means one of them getting sick means all of them are probably going to get sick. So now if one child is not just Dash that's going to stay home, they drink off the same bottles, they're taking each other's pacifiers out and doing all that type of stuff and mixing germs, so the likelihood of them getting sick is so much higher, and my anxiety goes up that much more. So when Dallas was just around, he was just easy. Dallas was the easiest child. He didn't really give us any problems, like as far as wanting us to play with him all the time. Dallas is independent. He's playing by himself. He's making his own games, playing and losing the games that he's made up himself. And now that he has the babies interfering with his solo play, we have to intervene and try to make him play, you know, alone. Go into your bunk bed and play with your Nintendo. Like, we have to now keep the children away from each other so they don't bother each other and, like, torment each other. But noticing that Dallas needs time away is kind of something that we're trying to be more intentional about while still giving him attention. Because when we tell him to go on his top bunk so that he's not around the babies, now he's up there for an hour and we haven't seen him or asked about anything, or, you know, he hasn't chimed in. So I kind of been noticing him having a little bit of distance with us because he's trying so hard to not be bothered and hit and, you know, his toys taken from the babies. When we were pregnant with Denim, Dallas was really excited. And I think when we got pregnant with Dash, he was kind of over it. Like, he was really, when we brought Dash home, he was very overwhelmed and said that he had a lot of responsibility on him. And me and Des were like, we're the parents. You'll be all right. We'll help you out. Like, we'll do a little bit to help. He's like, this is just a really big responsibility to be a double big brother. And it's like, he's even worried about all the kids in the house. He's even worried about all the mouths to feed. And I don't want to translate that worry. I talk a lot out loud. I know he hears me complaining all the time, but I mean, at least he won't jump into having a whole bunch of kids right away, and he'll see that there's a realistic view of motherhood and fatherhood, because he sees us, you know, really having to work together and seeing us in shifts and seeing Des doing things for me that, you know, he sees him doing the dishes. And we have all boys, so the gender roles thing isn't really a thing for us, I guess, because I don't really like to do anything at the house. I do a lot of things, but it's not because I'm the mother. It's just like me and Des are the grown-ups. So Des washes dishes, so Dallas sees that happens. It's not like he's going to grow up thinking that women only wash dishes. So I had a lot of friends asking me, like, do you let your kids play with, the kitchen set, that topic. My kids see us in the bakery all the time. Like, we own a bakery. The whole gender roles thing doesn't exist because, A, we don't have a little girl in the house with pink stuff around, so, it doesn't make that topic hard for us. But as far as cleaning and who does the cleaning, all the babies have their own little individual vacuum cleaners so they can, learn how to clean up, and we're trying to teach them little life lessons and stuff. But it's hard to be an intentional parent like that. And that's something that Des and I are trying to be. And it takes a lot of energy, and that energy we just don't have sometimes enough for ourselves, like to keep ourselves together. So how do we have enough energy at the end of the day to nurture and pour into 3 children? Like, it gets to be draining, to say the least. So with the whole COVID thing with Dallas and the school situation, tutoring is something we had to implement, like, into our schedule as well. So not only do we leave the house every day by 7, get home at 6:30, Dallas usually has tutoring in Hyde Park where so he can get some individualized attention because of his I'm not going to say that he's delayed in his reading at all. I just think he's delayed in the experience of having one-on-one training from a teacher. So I think he missed a year of having that hands-on learning. So we feel like he needs to go to tutoring. But that's hard. I want to go home some Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't want to do another thing. I'm tired of all of it. I don't even want to do homework sometimes when they get home. Like, it's a luxury for us to have the babies. So, but I can't imagine having 3 kids' homework to do, because that means the parents are doing homework. I already see the signs. I see where this is leading. Having to do school projects and making little shoe boxes with things in it. It's like it's another job for us on top of feeding them and clothing them and all the other things. But this is what we signed up for, apparently, on the invisible contract of parenthood. And I don't know if I would have not done it if I had known in advance. I just would have been, my expectations would have been different. I don't feel like I am upset with the fact that I have children. Is just like my expectation for what this would look like was completely different than what it is. So even like feeling competitive with my mom, we're not even playing the same game. She was a stay-at-home mom. She had a different type of relationship with us. She really sat down and did our homework with us and had dinner on the table when we walked in the house every night. So when I'm not doing dinner on the table and wanting to do homework, I'm like, you're a bad mom. But my mom was being a stay-at-home mom all day and doing all the things that stay-at-home moms do, which is a lot of stuff too. But I'm at work, so I'm quite literally exhausted. I've been on my feet all day, but we've been traveling, Des has been driving all around town all day. We really just want to sit down and just be at peace, but there's kids crying until 10 p.m. when we get home. It's never quiet. I don't like that I set myself up for failure by having unrealistic expectations for motherhood, and but I still am in competition with the mom in my head that I would like to be. I want to be happier. I want to be happier for my children, happier, when I come home from work. If we had a great day, then I know I'll be kicking it. I'll cook whatever y'all need. Y'all can have all the snacks you want. So it's like more days like that, more days being the better versions of myself. So I have to try to gear my competitive mind toward myself and not outwardly of the images that I see on social media of the moms who just really have it all together. They're, they got their lunch, the apples are sliced, the sandwiches are cut, and they have little notes in their lunch boxes for their kids. And I literally am like, Dallas, you're getting to school lunch today. And then I feel bad about it because I know how to cut sandwiches too. Like, I really can, do food art all the time, but I don't want to do that. Like, why don't I not have enough energy for that? Why do I have enough energy to sculpt a cake, but I don't have enough energy to make my kid a sandwich? But maybe if I didn't see other people, or not that I don't want to see other people posting their kids' lunchbox. Maybe I need to stop thinking that should be me too, or I think my kid is missing out on that. But speaking of lunches, my little brother is 8 years younger than me, and so when he was born, I was 8, and my mom stopped making lunches for me for lunch, and I'm like, what the heck, right? I didn't even tell her. I just internalized it. I was really mad at her for ages, right? I told her in high school, I'm like, Mom, you remember when Jalen was born and you stopped, making lunches and doing all that mommy stuff? I would like for you to start making lunches again. And she did. She used to make me like the most amazing sandwiches, and all the stuff was great. So like, that's really what I want. I want a sandwich. I used to carry a lunch every day to school in high school like a kid, because that's what I wanted my mom to do. And I don't want Dallas to think that it's because I have other kids that I don't feel like doing it. I just really don't feel like it. Like, it's not that. It's not the kids. It's really just the fact that I don't want to do it. And that should be okay sometimes. And maybe I can teach him how to make his own lunch one good time, and he can make his lunch at night, or try to, figure something out so he can still have a lunch without me having to make it. But we have to both make it work, because I still don't want to keep compromising my wants and the things that I think are important, like I just, having to constantly do things you don't want to do takes a toll on you. Like, if constantly having to, like, think about having to get up out the bed all the time, like when the baby cries. Like, that's against your will. You do not want to do that. But how many times did you have to constantly do things against your will before you had kids? So then you start contributing all of your frustration to the fact that you have a child, and that kind of gets you in a really dark space, and it makes you maybe resentful for your child. So instead of just compromising and that being a burden on me, I'm going to try to, get Dallas to like doing other things, and we can figure out how to do it. I think the making lunch at night thing, now that I'm talking about it, might be a good idea, because I do have more energy in the evening. I do not want to do it in the morning, so maybe we can do that. So look at us. We just figured out a solution to that problem. But, and with that being said, I wanted to talk about the love languages of our kids and being aware of them. Dallas is a quality time guy. He's a quality time that he likes words of affirmation. So talking Dallas through the process of making his lunch and spending that time with him after the kids go to sleep really could be something that I can easily implement that will touch his love language. And now I can spend time with him. Like I was just saying, I didn't feel like we were spending as much time because we have him doing, his solo activities in the house. So I want to find different ways to love them. Like me saying I love you, I do that all the time because I don't feel like I was told I love you enough growing up. My mom loved us. Her love language is acts of services and words of affirmation, I believe. And so she loved us in that way, in the way that she received love. So my love language is acts of service and words of affirmation also, right? How convenient. So my mom would do a lot of things for us. She was helping us through everything. Like I said, she was sitting down. She did all homework with us. Her, starting Jordyn cakes with me, that was a labor of love to me. That was a way that my mom was able to show, like, Jordyn, I love you. This is what I'm going to do for you. But when I got older and moved out of the house and we were around each other less and you're doing less things for me, I felt less loved by her. So at that time, she might have needed to come in with the words of affirmations if we're not going to be doing things for each other, because now obviously I'm an adult and I don't need as much, doing things for her. But I just really think that if you're going to love your child one way, you got to try to commit to that, because it is going to feel like a really huge separation if quality time and acts of services is your love language. So imagine your kid going away to college and you can't get to them. You can't do things for them. You don't want them to feel like you don't love them just because that, is missing. But that's why I got so intentional with the love language thing, because I feel like if anything, I wanted to be told I love you so that when I hear I love you, I'm not jumping through the roof. I wanted to hear from my parents. I wanted to hear from my family more than on Christmas. And, just because I tell my kids I love them as many times as I say their name, I all the time I give them hugs. And I'm not a touchy-feely person. I don't like to be touched. Physical touch is not my love language like that. Like with the kids, them poking and pulling and licking and all that, kissing and all that stuff, it gets to be overstimulating. I just want my space. I just want to breathe, but they're literally climbing on you, want to sit in your lap all the time, and it's like, dang, like, back up. I want to just breathe. And I can't say that because they're babies, but it's like, back up. How am I not able to feel a normal feeling of wanting a bubble around me when, you know, you grow up all the time telling people to give everybody space, and then at one moment, as soon as you have kids, you never have any space anymore. And you're just supposed to adjust like that. You're supposed to be okay just like that because you're a mom and you have all these mommy feelings, so you're okay with just being constantly touched. Like, no one wants to do that. So I have to adjust, but I do hug them even though I don't like the other stuff, because I'm going to do all the love languages too. Hell, I don't know what y'all like yet. I'm going to do them all. We're going to do everything. And when they start showing how they show love, like Denim, he going to sit on your back, put his feet in your shirt, all the things he's on, you know, he want to be in your skin. He is just, you know, he likes being next to you. So we let him be next to us, you know. He's the cuddler. He's the one. Dash, you know, he cries. And then he wants to be hugged. He's either smiling or he's crying. We're still figuring him out. He's only been here for like 16 months. So it is hard dealing with a new person when we had a thing. We had a good thing going. Like us and Dallas and Denim, we were kind of getting their little routine together. They were kind of getting close, and then Dash comes in and kind of rocked our world a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I just really don't even know. I don't know what happened. The colic is just something I couldn't believe. My mom told me I was colicky, and they took me to the hospital to ask what was wrong with me because I wouldn't stop crying. And I'm just like, relatable. Dash acts exactly like me. And I don't really know what's to him, but like I said, we're figuring it out. And with us being intentional, we will find out what his love language is and try to nurture. Maybe he won't cry so much, because when he walks up to me and just starts crying, it frustrates me so much. Like, why don't you just want to come up to me and hug me? Like, why do you only want to scream when you see me? Like, that's like negative reinforcement. I just want you to come to me and be happy. Why do I want to be around a child that's crying all the time, besides the fact that he's my child? So it's conflicting, but we're getting there. Some people can tolerate a little bit more of the crying, and they're able to tune out the sound. I don't really know how. It just sounds like my ears are bleeding. It feels like my brain is just, I can't hear any other words. So that's probably the hardest part about parenting right now, is all the crying, and still loving them through it, and still, you know, having to feel the same amount of love and give them the same amount of energy, and still keep getting up. We got to change the diet, you know, do all the things to make sure they're not crying. But then if they're still going to cry, and you feel like, you know, what the heck are you supposed to do? I don't like to have my kids to share. Like, I buy them all the toys individually so they don't have to share, so I can eliminate all the crying. So that's how deep me not wanting to hear crying is. Like, I just can't tolerate it. But that's why they're not sleep trained, and that's why they don't sleep through the night, because I wake up and, you know, well, Des goes and grabs them another bottle and whatever, because I can't deal with the crying. But if I had dealt with it earlier and just let them cry it out, then we probably will be at a better place right now. But I don't know. We're trying, for sure. So the other night, I was watching The Last Dance with Des for like the third time, watching the full Michael Jordan documentary, and I got really inspired. I really think that Michael Jordan and he's my spirit animal. As competitive as he is, and the drive, the commitment to the game, I really, you know, I think that's how I am with like cakes, and that's how I approach everything, is just to be the best, not even really to be in competition, but just being the best. So whatever that means for the rest of anyone, I like to, you know, strive for greatness. But it started really making me think, like, why am I so competitive? Why is that my natural reaction to want to challenge someone to a race? Like, instantly, let's go outside and race about it, because I'm really fast too, I think. You know, I really just am so competitive. My mom, like I said earlier, my hidden, you know, invisible competition with my mom, I think it's just how I was raised. We played lots of games growing up, like Taboo and Scrabble and stuff. I feel like that set us up for just, you know, being competitive natured. My brothers played sports. I was a competitive cheerleader for 8 years. So I'm just naturally wanting to be, you know, competitive type of girl. And I started to realize that while I was watching a documentary that I am the Michael Jordan of my family. You know how people say they're the Beyonce of their family? No, I'm Michael Jordan. And I think that everybody should admit it, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. But I just think that I am the superior child. Like with my mom, like I'm the only girl right now. I really have done all the things. I have babies and things. I should be the most revered because I've been married, I have children, I have a business, and I feel like I should be my mom's favorite. So that's what I'm getting down to the bottom of. I don't understand why I'm not her favorite child when, you know, all the signs point here. And she has, you know, my brothers are excellent. They are great. But me being the competitive person that I am, I'm going to have to, I strive every day to be her favorite. And that's my only competition, like with them. They're just, like, do I have to call you more? Do I have to check on you more? Like, what's it going to take? Because I want to be, I don't know. And it's not, they don't even know they're in competition. They have no idea that this is going on, that I feel like this. But I truly want to be, you know, the best at being a daughter too. So that's why I want my mom to be like striving to, like, I want her to see that I'm doing this, but if she doesn't know that I'm competing, then I guess she can't tell me that I'm winning. So I'm going to ask her that one of these days who her favorite child is, and we'll see what she decides to say. Now, mind you, my little brother is here recording, and I'm sure I'm not even going to look at him because he probably has something else to say. He's my favorite sibling. No offense, Julian, but Jalen's a sweetheart. But I think that it's hard being the only girl, and I think that boys and girls are raised differently when it comes to what your expectations are later. Like the girls, I think boys are coddled, and they think that somebody's going to take care of them later on. And I don't think I was raised that way to think anybody was going to take care of me later. I think they were really rough with me, just kind of like blunt. This is the right and this is the wrong. But the boys, they raised them just different. They I don't know. I feel like as a mom, I'm going to instantly have the most responsibility out of the bunch, you know, and first. So I feel like they should have raised me to be a mom, because I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, let's just say that. I don't know. I don't feel like I was given the tools to know how to be a mother or really a woman from my mom, because I had a child so young. And there's people that have had kids younger than me, but so they might feel the same way. But I know that I didn't make any doctor's appointments for myself before I made appointments to have a baby. So I don't even know how to call the doctor. Like, I don't know how to set up insurance. I don't know how to do those things. And I'm like, I wanted them to have taught me those things so I could have felt more prepared for the game of life that I'm, trying so hard to compete. I'm trying so hard to keep up, but I don't even have the tools. I don't have the know-how. Like, I don't really know. I've been, like I said, competing with my mom. She got married at 21 to my dad. I got married at the same time. Even though she told me not to do it, she said it was too early to do it, but it's just like I feel like you're challenging me. I think I'm going to be in a better, I'm going to do things different, so it's not going to lead to, early marriages and then divorce more likely. Like, that's not my narrative. That's not about to be my story. But that's just the competitive nature. Like, I'm really trying to prove to her and my family, or anybody that thought that I shouldn't have kids and thought that I shouldn't get married so young, like, every day I'm trying to prove that I can do it. And I'm prove them wrong and prove, that I have the ability to take care of myself. But it's like, why do I think that I do? Besides just blindly having faith, the episode of the flu game, that was my favorite episode. Like, he was, down and out, sick. Everybody was so impressed with the fact that he was able to play so well while he was, now we found out that he had food poisoning, but whatever illness you were dealing with, we were so impressed that you were able to play the game through that. And I just want to give all the moms credit for dealing, like, we're in the flu season, y'all, like, quite literally, like fuck a flu game. It's not just that, it's every single day. We're waking up, we quite literally could be sick, or the kids can be sick, or anything mentally can be going on, relationship can be going on. You have to perform anyway. You have to perform at your peak. You have to smile for these kids. You have to feed the kids and clothe them and change them, all the things at your top ability. You have to go to work and compete against people that don't have kids and don't have that other extra distraction. It's like we're in a flu season. And how long is the season, you might ask? Like in the Bible, they tell you, they only last for a season. But it's like, my goodness. Like, is a season 4 months? Is it 3 months? Like, Lord, give me a sign. I need to know how long the flu season's going to last. But just like COVID, we didn't anticipate it lasting 2 years, and here we are. But apparently, all the trials that we experience in life are supposed to be, training us up and making us stronger for life. So apparently, the flu season supposed to be making us strong. I personally don't want to be that strong, but we're learning. I think that all the experiences in life are leading us to be able to handle anything. Like learning the Pythagorean theorem when you're in high school, that doesn't make any sense until later on. You're really just finding out you're making yourself mentally stronger. Like the things that we learned in high school are only to mentally prepare us to reason and come up with logical explanations for things. Like, it's not just like you're going to see, triangles in your future necessarily, but you are going to have to be mentally and prepared for other type of equations in life, figuring some things out in life. And I think that that's like the thing where your mom tells you you're going to realize it one day, or you'll need this one day, and then that one day comes and you're like, aha, that was what my mom was talking about. That was what, that's what she meant when she said this and that and that. But living these life experiences and going through these seasons, it can get hard, and you can go weary. Like, I'm tired. Like, what's more tired than weary? What's the word? But I don't know. But I'm, like, in a perpetual state of fatigue. I wake up tired. I go to sleep tired. I'm, working tired. When I'm off work, I'm tired. It's just, like, there's no relief. There's no peaceful sleep anymore. There's no rest. There's no rest that feels like real rest. I don't feel rested when I wake up. I did want to make sure I said I have ADHD, so I'm also, like, I'm very scattered, so try to follow me. I'm going to be all over the place, but, you feel me. But with having ADHD, I have to take medication in order for me to be able to function throughout the day and get my tasks done without being too overwhelmed and too, anxious. Adderall makes me awake. It makes me more productive. It does help me prioritize. It does help me finish tasks and write lists and things. However, it makes it even harder for me to sleep. So, how do I continue to heal and try to get better and get my mental in a better space without making it impossible to stay awake? Impossible to go to sleep. Like, I know my body also needs rest. So it just feels like an oxymoron to want to heal myself mentally but also be physically well for, motherhood and my day-to-day life. So everybody is saying that you should not have a favorite child, but I don't really know how realistic that is. You have a favorite of everything. You really do have a favorite color, but I think that it will change. I'm not saying it means that you don't like another child more, but I don't know. I think there's favorite ages and there's favorite, like, experiences, and there might be a better time that you had the child, like a better time in your life that you had the baby, so that might be why that baby is, like, your favorite at that time. I think for me, the two of my kids that act most like me are the most irritating to me. Dash cries all the time and Dallas talks all the time. How we both gonna talk all the time, me and Dallas? Like, we both, dominating all the conversations and asking all the questions. Like, it's really hard for us. But Dallas he acts just like me. He's very articulate. He makes sure that he stands up for himself and has full explanations for every decision that he's ever made. And the babies, between the two of them, Denim is the cute. He's at a cute age. He's starting to talk more. He's starting to tell us what he wants, juice, music. He likes rap music. So that's a fun phase. And Dash is naturally just crying. So I would say Denim is my favorite for this week. I think it changes week to week. It's whoever's acting right. That's my favorite. Whoever's not crying is my present favorite. And I don't think people should be afraid to say that. Not to the kids, of course, because that's not kind. I wouldn't be like, you're my favorite this week. But it just definitely is a reality that a child that is easier, that shares the same love language, for instance, that shares the same likes and dislikes as you, Dash and Denim liking to listen to music all the time makes it easier for us to be around them. They love instruments, and they like playing the piano, they like singing on the microphones. Like, we have more things to do. I don't like talking about Pokemon. I don't like talking about Rokemon, who's the made-up Pokemon that he made, so he has even more complicated names of Pokemon to tell us. So all that's frustrating for me to have to, like, put a smile on. And I talked about feeling like I was a clown sometimes, like feeling like I'm putting on an act. And it's not that I don't feel like I'm authentically being a mother. I just feel like I really want to be Jordyn, and sometimes Jordyn don't want to smile. And since I'm a mom and I have 3 little kids looking up to me, waiting for smiles, I have to then put my clown mask on and smile for them, even though I'm sad. So that's the best, like, picture I can paint for you is of how I'm feeling some days. And some kids it's easier to hide that from. Dallas is more observant. It's harder to be around him when I'm in a bad mood, because Dallas is like, are you okay? And the second somebody asks you if you're okay, you burst into tears, especially your child. As soon as you ask me, like, oh, your eyes looking a little misty, and it's like, you're actually right, they are pretty misty. I'm about to start sobbing now. So it's just, he's more aware, and that kind of, he pulls my card. Like, he always is sitting, he'll check you, like, what's wrong with you, or like, can I, I don't know. So maybe he's my biggest challenge right now. He's getting older, and I have to be a better parent because he sees everything and he hears everything. So I'm trying not to talk negatively around him. I was really trying not to talk so bad about e-learning and stuff and how awful it was and how much I hated it. But we live in a 2-bedroom apartment right now. It's hard hiding anything from these kids. Like, I can't say anything. I can see everybody in every room that I'm sitting in. And the kids want to be in our face anyway, so we don't need anything. Everything is perfectly what it is. But I just know that I can't ever have a break without, them running up to you. The kids just are like little boomerangs. They run off and they run right back. They run off and they run right back. And there's never like a time that anybody can have their own space at this moment. And I think that contributes to, how they act. So when they're acting irritated, they're going stir crazy too. When they are, fussy and wanting, they want to get some fresh air too. But naturally, we live in Chicago where it's snowing, so I'm not about to sit outside. Y'all are going to be cold. All the different reasons why you don't want to go outside. I used to think I would want to go ride bikes and stuff with my kids. I don't want to do any of that right now. I don't want to do any of that when I get done with work. And I don't know when that's going to click. When is the wanting to go outside mommy activity thing going to click on? Because I'm too tired to want to get them dressed. That's too much of a hassle, but I know they need to get out the house. And play dates and stuff, I want to cancel every play date after I make it because I'm already too tired. Like, I'm too tired to do anything extra. So maybe if I had like a week of sleep, I can catch up or something. It's just not possible. I'm trying to balance and trying to be good at it. I'm trying to be like a really good mom, y'all, and it's really not as easy as it looks. People say, like, we're doing a great job. Oh, the kids look so great. Like, it's easy to match outfits. It's easy to make them smile in pictures. It's easy for all of that. But the times that we take pictures of them, it's the only time of the day they're not crying or the only time they're doing something cute. Instantly, I'm taking my phone out because they're being adorable. I want to they don't act like that all the time. It's like when they go to other people's houses and everybody says that your kids acted fine. And it's like, whoa, why y'all save that secret, special, crazy acting stuff when you're at home with us? Why do you think we want to deal with that? But when you go to your grandma's house, you're a perfect angel. Or, you go to daycare and they say they never have any problems getting you down for naps. And I've never not had a problem. It's always a problem. It's always a fight. And it's like, I think the kids know that it's us and they know that they can do this to us. And, I don't really know how to do that. I feel like they run us right now. And we're trying to, take control of the house. Dez is Phil Jackson of the house. Dez is the leader of the team. He is our coach. Make sure everybody's in place, everything is together. And like I said, I'm Michael Jordan. And the kids is like Scottie Pippen and the rest of them things. So that's how I feel. We're doing great. We're really, like, as a unit, our family is strong. All these kids are going to be playing sports eventually. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. So when you guys are like, when is she going to start enjoying motherhood? probably when they're doing competitive things, when I can, when you're challenged, when all the activities aren't based on what I can produce for you. Every fun thing that a child does right now is if I do it. If you go to a museum, it's because I have to take you. Like, when they're in sports, they will have other friends, other activities, other things. Like, and it's just not dependent on if I have the energy to take you outside to do something with you. You really will have a routine. And being a part of team sports, I think, helps them, learn to be a team player and not just on the defense like I am. I'm just, like, competitive off top. Like, think about science fairs, for instance. Let Dallas join a science fair. It's up for all those little kids because it's me and him, and y'all know how creative I am. So everybody at the school, I hope you know, don't even enter your child because me and Dallas are going to have something spinning around the room. It's just I want him to enjoy things, and the way you enjoy things to me is just doing your best and being really good at it, and that's been my experience so far. I've never done anything long enough that I didn't like, and I never really had to. So I don't really know how to deal with not liking stuff and still having to do it. I made cakes, I was good at it, kept doing it forever. So I've never had many trials and tribulations when it comes to sticking to something because I stuck to the one thing that one time. So, and it was a big adjustment to quit and to feel like I quit and feel like I retired. But, like Michael Jordyn, everybody wanted him back. Nobody wanted him to go, but he had to make decisions for himself and for his mental health and for everything, and say, F all the rest of the people that just want me to sit around and play this sport that's taxing on my body, that's, mentally draining, mentally exhausting. Y'all don't see how many times I'm standing up in the shop. It's been since I was, consistently since I was 18, standing on my feet and then having babies back to back. Like, my body is tired from working and standing. It's manual labor, just like being an athlete. And now what happens when I'm ready to rest? And I'm just trying to take back my life again and be there for my kids so I can be, we can form a better team. My mom was definitely one of those I'm not your little friend moms. She was definitely like clear separation between, church and state. Okay, you are not my friend. I have a whole bunch of friends. My mom has the most friends out of anybody I know. Like, they've all been her friends for over 40 years or something crazy. And so I'm like, wow, I wish I could be her friend. She's pretty cool. That's growing up as a little girl, she was like my idol. And basically because she had such good relationships, such good long-standing relationship, I admired that about her. And her telling me I wasn't going to be her little friend kind of hurt my feelings. I knew that the times would change and she would realize that I am indeed her best friend out of all of those friends. And definitely me and my mom are having a better relationship now because the age gap and because I have 3 kids and because now I'm married, I have a little bit more experience, so I have some more ground to stand on. And I was really sitting down thinking about if I felt like her and I had any type of rivalry. Like, it's one thing for being in competition with the perfect mother in my mind, which is her, but it's another thing to feel like your mom is competing with you. And that's super weird. I've heard it's common, but it's strange, the dynamic that somebody you created you're also in competition with. And if the kid notices it, then how is that going to affect them later on? How is that going to affect how they parent and treat their children? Are they also going to feel like they're, their rival? Why is this person your biggest competition and your biggest threat? Why are you, I don't really understand what that dynamic is. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about if you guys had felt like any type of rivalry or whatever or competition between your mother, coming from your mother. But I would say that I don't think that my mom had any type of she wasn't competing with me like I was competing with her. She would always tell me, like, why would I want to be a kid? Like, I have nothing to be, we would talk about the same thing, and she'd be like, no, like, I'm not in any competition with you. And I'm like, all right, and I don't know if I don't know, y'all, because my mom and our relationship has gone through a lot of phases. There were times that we were closer. There was times that we were, like, with the bakery, when we opened the bakery together, she was, like, my right-hand man, answering all my emails for me, and being my manager, being my, really my right hand at that bakery. And so we had a very close relationship, but then it's like, what if this starts to feel like a business relationship? What if this doesn't feel like, you know, I don't know. It started to just feel like the lines were so blurred. You know, it's kind of like how she says, I'm not your little friend. It's like, but now you're my little employee. You know, like where do we draw the line of what our roles are? Like, what I wanted her to just be my mom, so we had to separate with business. Like, it was just like, I can't do this. I would rather work with somebody that I can say no to, because I didn't feel like I could say no to my mom. Like I said, I was blindly obedient. My mom tells me, no, I can't go to the store for you. It's like, oh, crap, like that sucks. But if I had another manager that wasn't my mom, then maybe I would have felt confident enough to be like, you gotta go. Like, I don't feel like I could have done that to my mom. So I'm taking the lead from her because she's my mom, but I'm in charge. So I had like a huge, who's in charge thing when we got to the bakery. But my name is on the door, and I was making all the cakes, but I just had such a hard time, who do I answer to? Am I answering to you? Am I answering to myself? Like, am I confident enough to run this business by myself? Can I handle it on my own? Or am I going to completely crash and burn without you? And back to me feeling like I'm competing or like trying to prove my family wrong. There have been times that I felt like I didn't have the support that I wanted, and I don't know if they even tried to make me feel like that, but that's just how I internalize some things. I just want to prove them wrong. Like, I just want to prove that I can do things, and I have a really sharp mind like they raised me to have. Like, I have really good morals. Like, I feel like I'm in so many positions to prove myself rather than people just believing in me. Like, I feel like I'm telling you, like, oh, no, I'm really responsible, but it's just like, I don't think that anybody believes me because I'm the youngest woman in the family right now. And but I also have a business, and I have for years. So I feel like I should have some more, like a seat at the table, and a seat, like be respected in a way from my life experience and having 3 kids at this time. Nobody else besides my mom has experienced this. So I really look to her for the thumbs up and the pat on the back and the you're doing a great job. And me asking her for that and me requesting her to be more vocal about my accomplishments with my children and not just my accomplishment with business, it's definitely made a change, because she's mentioning my parenting now and saying how, Dallas just got straight A's on his progress report. So that's a reflection that me and Des are doing a good job. But say that, I love to hear that too, just as much as you hear when your baby needs their diaper changed. Like, oh, that diaper look a little full. Just like the older people and the older generation feel the need to comment on the things we're doing wrong and the things that we're doing different. Comment on the things that we're doing right and the things that we're doing different. Like, comment on the positive parenting that we're doing and the not hitting and the not, like the patience that we have and, okay, take a walk for 10. Like, maybe they didn't do that with us being brought up. But if you see me doing something good and see me doing something that you are proud of, tell me, because like I said, I'm words of affirmation. Tell me I'm doing a good job. If I got it, tell me I got it. That's really what I want to say. Like, I don't think while I don't think that we had a rivalry, for a period of time I did feel like there was some living vicariously through me going on when I had the business, because my mom kind of put her dreams and stuff on hold when she had my older brother and I. So because I continued to work through having Dallas and, dealing with me getting married young and Dad's going away to Korea and me having to deal with that, I feel like my mom was kind of helping me with my business so that I didn't have the same story as her later, having to put her dreams on hold for her children. So she was trying to show me that, I don't want you to end up resenting your children. But with that being said, I'm like, Dad, does that mean you resent us now? And I feel like maybe for a little while she did, before she found her thing, that is blowing up, that is doing great, and it's her lane. Before she found that, I do feel like she was resentful of my brothers and I, because she did have to put her life on hold. She decided to be a stay-at-home mom, which is the most insane thing, and I cannot believe that you guys choose to do that, besides financial reasons, which was her reason. Like, I just didn't know why you would want to do that. Kids are really that it's just so time. It's 24 hours. you don't get a break. When they take a nap, what do you really get to do? I don't really understand why anybody would choose that. But she made it seem a lot easier than it was. And a lot of y'all make stay-at-home mom ship look a lot easier than it is, because us being home during quarantine was just like World War III for us. And we're crumbling, and most of the stay-at-home moms do this all the time, so they were just more equipped. They really were ready for whatever. They're used to that type of trauma. But the moms that are in the workforce and that are entrepreneurs and that didn't take on the motherhood role as our only role, for a period of time. It's just really, it was an adjustment. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to be a stay-at-work mom. I want y'all to know mommy's at work, and y'all can come up here with me. Y'all can come and see the bakery. They can only stay for a little while because they don't know how to act in nice establishments, but they can come for a second. But I want them to see what I'm doing. I want y'all to see where I am. Me being present around my kids is super important to me, but me working and building my name and building my brand is also important, and that requires me to be over here. So my kids do see that I work hard, but they do see how I'm trying to be vocal with them about how I'm working hard so I can be home with you guys more, but at the capacity that I want to be at home. I want to be home before 6 p.m. so I can have dinner cooked already, so they don't have to cry for the hour that they cry while I cook dinner. So try to fix the problems that I have right now. Them continuously crying has me down to, 110 pounds. I don't feel like eating after I cook dinner and y'all cry the whole time I'm cooking. I've lost my appetite. I'm really irritated by the end of the day because I'm fighting children that are sleepy to go to sleep, and I'm the one that wants to go to sleep. Worse than both of y'all, apparently, but I can't go to sleep until, they're down. It's like I feel like I'm in the Olympics or a triathlon. What was the thing that Bruce Jenner did, or Caitlyn Jenner? Correct. Sorry, Bruce Jenner triathlon. That's how I feel. I feel like every day you're either swimming, running, jumping over some things, throwing a big old rock. You're doing something. Everything's another challenge, and it's not working the muscle that you worked out yesterday to be stronger. It's another muscle. It's your mental. It's your physical. And Dash is 33 pounds, and I have to keep picking him up because he's a crybaby. Like, I'm so strong on my right side. Who knew? I haven't been to the gym in ages, but I have a massively 97 percentile child that I have to lift constantly. So, I'm really working out. Everything is trying to prepare me for something bigger. I kind of think that God's trying to test me to see, there's some things that keep happening over and over. How are you going to approach it? How are you going to approach it if we have another shutdown? How are you going to approach things if the kids have to do e-learning again? Are you going to crumble under the pressure again like you did last time, or are you going to ask for help? So, an example, when we shut down, I had to homeschool. I told you that was terrible for me. The schools just shut down for a week. Well, Dallas's school had to be out for 10 days because of a kid in his class getting COVID, and I asked my mom, can Dallas come over while he does e-learning? And she said yes. What do you know? It's like that. Me realizing that that's all it takes sometimes is to ask and to tell people what you need. There was one day she couldn't do it, but she did as many days as she could. And that's really important to me, that she's making efforts to, answer the call when I'm calling her. So it's just hard. I know I'm dialing back and trying to pull things from my past to kind of get you guys to see my perception of things and why my worldview is the way it is. But my mom has changed almost a complete 180 from in these last 2 years over the course of COVID, what I've needed from her and what I've wanted from her. So when I go back and I talk to you guys about, where my upbringing and how I felt growing up, it doesn't have the same reflection of how our relationship is now. She is my best friend. She is, the person that I call at any minor inconvenience all day long, and I do not understand when she doesn't answer the phone. But our relationship wasn't like that all the time. It wasn't as copacetic. It wasn't as honest. I tell her when I'm unhappy. I tell her when I'm happy. I cry. Everything. Fall out. Panic attacks. I'm making sure, I'm telling her what I need rather than sitting around being mad that she's not reading my mind. And I'm definitely getting some really good results. I can't believe my little brother thinks that he is the Michael Jordan of our family when my father named me after Michael Jordan in '93 after their three-peat. I don't understand what the math is not there. I am Michael Jordan. I'm retired too. Like, how can you say that? He retired at a super young age. So once y'all do that, once one of my siblings do that, then they can talk to me. I really, really, really am so happy that you guys loved the first episode. I've been getting so many messages talking about your village and how you got to talk to your family members and tell them what you need, and I love to hear that. A lot of moms, grandparents are sending me messages saying that they're going to help more with their grandkids and be more intentional about asking their kids who seem like they have it all together if they're really okay. So they didn't know that their kids felt burdened. They didn't know that their daughters felt any type of way about their grandparenting. And I think that this kind of is opening up a dialogue that I didn't even know, needed to be opened. I'm excited that you guys are, bonding with me and the other moms, like, they're on the page. I've seen you guys shout out a lot of moms that you feel like need to hear this, and I definitely want you guys to continue to do that so that we can kind of gain some more understanding and people can see what motherhood is really like.